Believe you me, I know the value of a penny.
Yes.
My brother Manny brought home a white cat one day, and Papa said we couldn't keep it because we couldn't afford to feed it. My sister saved up money so I could go to school to be a teacher. We didn't have anything.
Yes. But you're doing all right now.
She said to me that the secret to her success was a good smile. And that, of course, is not true, but it didn't hurt her.
She was the most delightful and charming person you'd ever meet in your life.
She was funny and very intelligent and a real pro.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm just dusting the bulbs, Miss Daisy.
That's the silliest thing I ever saw in my life. Who cares if lamp bulbs are dusty?
I had known of Jessica from her work on Broadway. That was where my interest in her began, and I was just an enormous fan of hers.
She was a wonderful person to share a stage with and share rehearsal with. And that's, I think that's a very important thing.
I'd always been pretty much in awe of her as a person who loved to go to the theater. And she was this lovely, gracious lady.
She's the kind of star that belongs, you know, in a pantheon as a performer. And remember, this is the woman, you know, who originated Streetcar Named Desire.
Kazan cast her as Blanche in Streetcar. Her performance in Streetcar must have had an impact on her career as a stage actress because it was a play that was such a blockbuster.
I saw her in Gin Game with her husband, Ewan Crone, and I thought she was wonderful. And then I started working on Fried Green Tomatoes, and I started writing the script, and I was basically writing the script for her.
Jessie got the Tony Award for Gin Game, and Hume, for some reason or other, didn't get the Tony Award. When she went up to accept the award, so many people, you know, have so many people to thank. I thank this, and my parents, and everybody I ever knew in my life. Jessie said, "Thank you very much." And that was it. And I wrote her a note afterwards, and I said, "I think of you as getting the award for both of you." And she wrote me back and said, "Thank you for that."
I'd never been in a wedding party, and I'd never seen the ocean. Papa said it was the Gulf of Mexico and not the ocean, but it was all the same to me.
Yeah.
And I tasted the salt water on my fingers. Isn't that a silly thing to remember?
Ain't no silly in what most folks remember.
Dick Zanuck had worked with Jessica Tandy and recommended her to me. I'd never seen her. I mean, she was famous, mostly as a stage actress. I had never seen her, but I knew who she was. And then I met her, and I thought she'd be perfect.
It's 7:03.
Well, yes. You said we was leaving at 15 days.
At the latest, I said.
We wanted to make this movie with Jessica, so, you know, we just twisted everything into a pretzel and got the movie.
There's something very simple about an actress who's trained in the theater, which is you're able to rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and it generally doesn't destroy their ability to have some spontaneity.
One thing I did, for example, was the scene where she's going crazy at the end, where dementia is setting in, and she said to me, "Oh, I'm raving and I'm running around and I'm doing this and I'm doing that." And I said, no, it's not like that, Jessica. You're very quiet and you're very withdrawn. I said, it's always more scary when people are like that. She said, "Oh, okay, dear, that's the way you want it." And she did it so brilliantly.
Miss Daisy has had this little mini nervous breakdown, and she's very confused. And she takes his hand and says,
Oh,
Yes.
you're my best friend.
and Dick and I looked at each other, and it was just like this magic moment that it was all happening.
The first time I saw it with an audience, I sat with Jessica, I remember that, and it was over, there was this sustained applause. And I remember she and I just held hands. We didn't look at each other, we just held hands tight for a long time. I remember that.
I was so happy for her. And when she said, "I'm on cloud 9," I thought, yes, good. She really earned it.
Every day at dailies, when Jessica's footage would come on board, all these young men in our crew would say, "She's just so beautiful, she's just so beautiful." And I think that's really all you want in life. You want to be like about 82 years old and have a room full of guys going, "She's just really beautiful. Isn't she really beautiful?"
I remember she said, "I take the subway, you know." And I said, "Well, good." And she said, "The other day, I was in the station, in the subway station, and I was going into a car. The door opened and a man was coming out, and he looked at me and said, 'What are you doing here? You're a national treasure.'"
I was deeply fond of her, and consider myself lucky that I knew her, and lucky that she made so many films that she's still here. Whenever I want her, there she is.